Hello students, welcome to chemistry class. Let's further discuss the chapter electrolysis. In today's class, we are going to discuss the topic electroplating. In that topic, we will be discussing about define of electroplating, the conditions which are required for electroplating, electroplating of an article with silver, electroplating of an article with nickel. So let's start the topic. The first question arises, what do you mean by electroplating? Electroplating is an electrolytic process of depositing a superior metal over inferior metal by passing an electric current through an aqueous solution. There are different reasons for electroplating. First one is it prevents corrosion or rusting of the base metal. For example, iron tools and instruments are often electroplated with nickel or chromium or zinc to protect against rusting. The next one is it makes the article attractive and gives it an expensive appearance. For example, brass objects are frequently plated with silver to give them the shining appearance and beauty of a silver article. The conditions for the process of electroplating to be done. The first one is the article to be electroplated is always placed at the cathode. The reason for this, during electrolytic reaction, the metal is always deposited at the cathode by gain of electron. Hence, article which is to be electroplated is always placed at the cathode. The next condition is the metal to be plated on the article is always made the anode. The reason for this, the metal anode continuously dissolves as ions in solution and thus it has to be replaced periodically. The third condition, the electrolyte must contain ions of the metal which is to be plated on the article, because the electrolyte dissociates into ions of the metal which migrate towards the cathode and are deposited as neutral metallic atoms on the cathode. Fourth one, a low current and for longer period should be used because high current causes uneven deposition of the metal. Thus, longer time and low current initiates a thicker uniform deposition. The fifth condition is a direct current and not alternative current should be used. Alternative current causes discharge and ionization to alternate at the cathode, thus giving no effective coating. Now, we will be going to study about the electroplating of an article with silver. So, for this, first one is electrolyte. Electrolyte used in this process is sodium argentocyanide solution. The next one, electrodes. First one is cathode, which is made up of a cleaned article to be electroplated, which is usually made up of brass spoon. And anode, it is made up of a block of pure silver metal. So students, as soon as the electric current is passed through the solution, the electrolyte dissociates into ions. During dissociation of ions, sodium argentocyanide, it dissociates into sodium ions, silver ions and cyanide ions, whereas water, it dissociates into hydrogen ion and hydroxide ions. The reactions which take place at cathode and anode. First one, the reaction at cathode. Silver ion from electrolyte gains one electron and becomes neutral silver atom. At anode, the negative ions, cyanide and hydroxide ions migrate to the anode, but none of them are discharged. Instead, the atoms of anode, which is silver, lose electrons and pass into solution as silver ions due to the nature of the anode, which is active electrode. Silver ions are attracted to the cathode, which is made up of brass spoon. Here they gain electrons and become atoms of silver which deposit on the spoon as a firm coating. So the reaction at anode is silver on losing electron becomes silver ions. The observations which take place during this process are: cathode, which is made up of brass spoon, it increases in mass, whereas anode, which is made up of pure silver metal, it diminishes in mass. Students, the next one we will be going to discuss is electroplating of an article with nickel. As we all know that iron gets easily rusted when exposed to air. If iron articles are coated with a metal like nickel, tin or zinc, rusting can be prevented. For this purpose, electrolyte used is aqueous solution of nickel sulfate. If nickel plating is to be done, the iron article to be coated is made the cathode, whereas the pure nickel plate is made the anode, and a solution of nickel sulfate containing a small amount of dilute sulfuric acid is used as an electrolyte. As soon as the current is passed through the solution, nickel sulfate dissociates into nickel ions and sulfate ions, whereas water, it dissociates into hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So, the reactions which take place during this process: first one, reaction at cathode. Nickel ions are discharged at cathode as neutral nickel atoms by gain of electrons. So the reaction is nickel ions on gaining 2 electrons form neutral nickel atom which is deposited at the cathode, whereas at anode both sulfate ions and hydroxide ions migrate to the anode, but neither are discharged due to the nature of electrode, which is active electrode. Instead, the nickel anode loses electrons to give nickel ions in solution. Reaction at anode is nickel atom on losing 2 electrons form nickel ions, that is Ni2 positive. So the observations which take place during this process are: cathode, which is made up of iron, it increases in mass, whereas anode, which is made up of pure nickel metal, it diminishes in mass. In the next video, we will discuss about electrorefining and electrometallurgy. Thank you.